Welcome to what will probably be the most boring corresponding Monster Lab video. Since my entry into this year's Candy Bowl was made entirely on my own, there's no compelling wizardry to exhibit here. This is due to my storied history of being unable to play well with others in the sandbox, especially when it comes to any creative vision I may have. So, to keep the monster inside of me hidden away from well meaning would be helpers, I mostly start projects that I know I can finish myself. All of this is my long winded way of saying that I'm going to focus on my writing process. Just to clarify, I'm not a writer, just someone who compulsively writes. What you are seeing right now is half the collection of journals that I've filled up with my scrawlings. This is a habit that started in college and continues to this day. What makes this habit potentially pathological is the fact that I am writing/drawing what comes to mind frequently. That it's so frequent that it often comes off as inappropriate. I'm working on this. Naturally, this habit of mine tends to draw attention and people get curious. They become compelled to read through my journals. Even though they're mostly mundane, sometimes I have written something too personal or even too boring to share. As such, I have begun to keep a decoy journal as shown here. This one I put slightly more effort into, so any nosy nose hairs won't be disturbed, disappointed, or bored by my actual journals. Now, onto how this applies to my entry this year. The piece itself is pretty straightforward. Whenever something scandalous or horrifying happens, everyone is all too eager to mold it to fit to their worldview. It makes sense. That's how people regain control or the illusion of control when confronted with the loss of control. I was at the center of such a situation at the height of my journaling habit. I don't like to talk about it because people get weird. Because it was my experience, I had the benefit of hearing most people's reactions upon finding out. This was one of the most edifying things to ever happen to me. When all the polish and affectations that come with forethought and preparation don't have time to form, that is when you learn the most about people, their anxieties, the trajectory of their thought processes, and how they wrangle it all just so that they can continue to carry on. I lay in bed awake at night, imagining conversations I'll never have. I sit on the subway, avoiding eye contact, composing thoughts and ideas I'll never have the organic opportunity to share. I imagine the most awful thing anybody could say in a situation. And I write it all down before it becomes a casualty of oblivion, a fate most thoughts and ideas are resigned to. While half of the spoken dialogue for my entry was freshly written for the piece, the other half was pulled from my journals from the aforementioned time in my life. Like most personal projects, it's a chimera of fact and fiction. If you don't understand, that's okay. I'm not mad. But I hope that at least you enjoyed it. But if you didn't enjoy it, that's okay too.